So I built a few more burgage plots down here, some pretty good sized ones, like 400 or 500%. So we'll get 2 more pairs. And then, like I said, I think we'll try to trade off some of the pairs in barters. So we'll use that. So this year, main focus, I know I probably did this in the recap, but main focus here is to make as much money as we can, as fast as we can. We've got taxes due in 7 days. We're going to use whatever's left over to build up our retinue. And then I would like to try to take the Barons region. However, we're not going to be using mercenaries. I think I mentioned it in the beginning, but we're not going to be doing any imports and we're not using any mercenaries. But the problem is that means we have to fight all of these mercenaries. So I guess we could hire them and then fire them so that it deprives the Baron of doing that. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. We might just make it a fair and clean fight. Just let them hire all of them and we'll just have to fight them as one massive group. So what we'll probably do is get a retinue upgraded to max. We should have our helmets pretty much done by then. And then we can come down and attack. We'll probably save Teufelsberg as the last one, because I'd like to have a retinue from each of these areas maxed out first, just in case they need them for raids. Like, we don't need Teufelsberg retinue to help with anything, essentially, just the final fight. So we'll figure out where we pull them from. I feel like this is probably the most dangerous one, because they're literally right on the edge of the map. So we'll probably upgrade this guy first. So Himmelreich. Let's pay for our royal tax first, and then we'll do that. There we go. Taxes paid, 461 treasury, which is not too bad. I mean, it's a lot for sure, but we're also making a lot. So, yeah, it doesn't show what we pulled in last year, but I think we're making about 140 to 150 now, and that's only going to go up with time. And we could increase our tax percentage if we really need to. We have very high approval, so we have plenty of room to go, but I'd rather keep the regional wealth nice and high in these regions, and then just do emergency what do you call it? Like an emergency increase tax to cover something if we need it. But yeah, I think in general we'll just keep these regions with a decent amount of wealth. That way they can buy everything they need. But anyways, that should be good. We've got 1,000 left over. Let's go ahead and upgrade this. We need to get our manor house upgrade here, the garrison tower. That'll allow us to have an extra set of retinue. So we can go from 12 to 14, 12 to 24. Let's go ahead and customize these guys as well. So we want to upgrade. Yeah, we're in Himmelreich. Perfect. So all these guys get upgraded. 26 each upgrade. And you can see they have really strong armor. It does make a massive difference. So I recommend upgrading them and then hiring. So like this. Upgrade and hire until you go down to 0. Don't just spam hiring, because then you're going to have weak retinue, and if they die, they're very expensive to replace. So 300. Let's keep it reasonable. We'll go down right around 200. That way, as soon as we take Lecha, as soon as we take this region, we can settle it. So that's kind of the game plan here. So these guys have a retinue, fully upgraded retinue of 14 so far. We can get up to 24. I think once we get them up to 24, we'll just send them an attack. We might wait a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure. If we lose a bad battle, that's going to set us back a lot. And so it's like, is it better to wait an extra year and miss that, or have to wait 5 years trying to recover from a bad battle? So that's kind of the calculus going on in my head. But anyways, let's keep this playthrough going. There's not much we can do other than just wait for all this infrastructure to finish, and then we'll come back. So we're going to start setting up our sheep imports, and that'll allow them to just start multiplying as fast as possible. We're going to do 10, which is 200 regional wealth. Even the poorest regions has enough to do that. So Schwarzholz. And then if we import 10, maybe by year 13 or 14, we'll have all 3 of these other regions maxed out for sheep. It doesn't take them that long. We could also import more. We'll just start with 10. Yeah, we could do more later. That's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, let's go ahead and import. Turn this off to make sure it's only internal. And we go up to 10. And then finally, Himmelreich. We'll do the same thing up here. There we go. So we'll see how that actually works. See if these guys are... Yeah, they're importing. Okay, sweet. So we should see our numbers fall slightly over here. But that's not a big deal. I adjusted our numbers so that we're not slaughtering quite as many of the lambs. So these lambs will grow up to replace the adults that we're trading off. And then this, we won't even really notice a blip here, I don't think. So we should be good. So looking at this guy, he's going Yep, he just picked up a sheep. Nice. So he snagged a sheep. This guy snagged a sheep as well. That is so cool. I've used it a long time ago, not for animals. I've used it for other things in the trade post, and it didn't really work very well because the trade post gets very congested. But this is super easy to use, actually, because what I've been telling the dev for, and this is a little side tangent, but I've been telling the dev for such a long time, we need a button to be able to toggle on and off either regular trade or regional trade. Like, I want to have a trading post where they ignore everything and they only deal with internal trades. Because what happens is, if you try and do internal trades, look, we're already trading 5 different items here, and that's not even including everything. There's some stuff in here that I'm sure that we're selling that we're just not represented here right now. If you add in all the internal trades you want to do, that adds to the pile. And then what happens is they only take one thing at a time, and then the other requests get pushed to the back, and a lot of times they never get fulfilled. So if you can separate your trading posts, one to do internal and one to do external, it would make life so much better. But I don't know, maybe it's not possible to do that on the back end, or they just don't know how to do it, or who knows. But yeah, hopefully that ends up being a thing at some point. But for now, the animal livestock trading is going to be very profitable. And then eventually what we could do is we could also sell some of these animals. So if we want to make some profit, we could always sell off some sheep, because we are making quite a few. So even if we're trading some of these out, so like in these other regions, maybe we don't need to make too much clothing and meat from that. So we could always sell the excess off and then make some profit that way. Because if every region is making clothing and wool and yarn, then nobody's going to be making money, because we'll flood the market and we'll tank the price. But if we sell sheep, those are worth 20 each. They're very expensive. So that should be pretty good. But anyways, that is good to see. We'll see some sheep start to populate here. And then also, I haven't really talked about this much since the start, but this should add to the amount of stuff that's going on the map. And hopefully we can get to a point where we break the game, because we're going to have all the regions filled with people and sheep and everything. And that's kind of the goal, is to just break the game. See at what point, how many people we can get on this map to break the game. So this will help contribute to that. But anyways, let's get back to it. You know what I realized is we're just not producing enough clothing. I'm going to get rid of these chickens, swap this to a tailor, because this one is not able to keep up with the output. If you look at how much we have here, 637 yarn, 238 wool. So we could use another person in the wool weavery, the weaver's workshop. Oh, shoot, we have 3 out of 3. And I kind of built myself, left myself no space to build over here. So we're kind of stuck with that. It's probably okay though. Yeah, we definitely need more processing power for clothing though, because the clothing can be sold and we'll make decent money on it. Yeah, so we'll at least do that. All right, we've got a little bit more money saved up. Let's go ahead and spend it. Pretty close to, yeah, we don't have enough to do everybody. 20 out of 24. Maybe it'd be wise, because I'm looking at the amount of mercenaries that they have. Oh god, this is a big one too. They just got that one in. That was not here last time. So the problem is we'll have to fight all this plus the 5 that they spawn in with. So 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 units here. We're going to have 6. We're going to have 7. 7 versus 12 is not really a good idea. Now, if we get all these retinue filled out, then we might have a better chance. I think we'd have a pretty good chance actually against them. But these crossbowmen are pretty rough to fight against. Same thing with these shielded the light infantry. These guys are pretty tough, so I don't know. Yeah, we might unfortunately have to wait another year. We're in June, so we're halfway through the year. Well, not quite, because we're doing years starting in March. In June, July. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's keep going. I also upped the amount of sheep that we're getting, so I upped it to 20, and I put extra families on here to help speed that up, because these guys are so far. It just takes them forever to get there. So we'll do that. These guys are almost... Right, how many did you get? They only have 5, so they need another family as well. I put 2. Let's just do 3. These guys are pretty much full, because they're literally, 10 steps away. So they're right next to them. They've got 20, just about, so we can probably cut these guys off soon. And they're already starting to get some lambs. I see 4 lambs here, so that's a good start. Yeah, we'll have them maxed out in no time. And then that's, of course, is transferring more wealth to this region, which is good, because we just spent like over 1,000 to upgrade both of these burgage plots to pairs. So there went a good chunk of our money, but we'll be all right. So yeah, I think we'll keep going. We need more money for sure. So, all right, let's finish this off if we can. There we go. We're down to 0 cash. We need 515 in 240 days, which is fine. We'll be able to get that in 5 months. 5 months is what? 150 days? So we'll have time to be able to do that. And I think we'll still be able to fight these guys. Let's see if the mercenaries change. Sometimes they rotate. Oh, dude, they got rid... Yep, they got rid of the crossbowmen and the 3 light infantry. It's July 12th, so they will respawn again at the end of the month. But now might be the time to try if we're going to go now. Or I guess otherwise we have to wait. Yeah, otherwise we got to wait until we fill more of these out. But I don't know that we need it. I think we can probably handle it here. These guys all have helmets. Crossbows are ready to go. Yeah, let me think about that. I decided it's time to go. August, September. We've got 1 month to get this battle done and then get back in time for a harvest. So we've assembled everybody. Let's go ahead and make sure we're in defense. Keep the retinue in reserve. Yeah, retinue in reserve since they get tired really fast. And then I want to keep the crossbows bunched up as tightly as possible, so if they try to flank, it'll be easier to defend. Let's go ahead and zoom out and start claiming the region. And then they're going to contest it almost immediately. And if you look at the mercenaries, they did update. They have a local thug, which is basically useless. Battle Brothers, not the best, but it's 2 extra units. And then Flock of Crazy Geese. These guys are pretty well armored. So this is a little bit of a concern, but not as bad as the crossbowmen and the 3 light infantry. So I think we should be able to smoke these guys. So let's try it. When are they going to climb? There they go. All right, so we are... Yep, we're fighting. We're in the circle, and we got to see where they're coming from. They're coming from straight at the bottom of the map. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, dude, this is stupid. They hire all the mercenaries all at once, and their standard... they have a retinue, 2 archers, and 2 melee troops. So they get 5 units plus whatever whatever mercenaries were available. So let's go ahead and get set up here. We are on a slight hill. Yeah, we're on a slight hill right here. So I think we need to make sure we hold that. So let's go ahead and line these guys up. I think we'll try and stay 2 ranks deep or close to it. And then we'll keep the retinue over here on the left flank. Crossbowmen can be dead center, and then hopefully we can get some decent shots off on them. So I don't know what they're going to end up doing here, but hopefully we can get some decent action from our crossbowmen before... Right, he's trying to get out of it. We don't want to get out of it. We just want to fight this. So here we go. We need our crossbowmen to take out their ranged troops. So let's go ahead and turn to face. Keep the retinue in the back, and then they will deal with any flanking units that they have. Okay, are we in range? Yeah, we should be in range. Okay, I want to focus down the archers first, if we can, because they will definitely target our ranged, and we don't want to really lose our ranged units. They're taking shots at these guys in the front. These guys are charging the Flock of Crazy Geese. Oh no, these are Battle Brothers. All right, let's go ahead and move into shield wall. Oh, shield wall here as well. Oh, they're taking quite a beating so far. There is a unit coming out here to flank, but that's why we kept these guys in reserve. Dude, that's so many people. How? Yeah, that's a lot of people. Oh man, they got destroyed. All right, so we want to come off our line, get the retinue back over there. That's fine. Okay, take the next available unit if you can. Let's move up a little bit. They are going really wide. Let's just keep these guys shooting. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but let's go defensive with our retinue. We'll keep a nice line over here. Those archers are probably trying to line up for a flank, so let's go ahead and counter them. Okay, these guys are done. They wiped out whatever unit that was. That was the brigands. I guess they had some brigands. Yeah, the local thugs. So we should be able to cover our rear now. Yeah, we're getting some meaningful damage in on these archers. This is really good. So we're maintaining defensive position. They do have the high ground now, which is not perfect, but it's also not that big of a deal. All right, these guys need to all get off of defensive position and start pushing. Clear those guys out. If they're not going to push in right away... Yep, they're broken. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Let's just leave them to do their thing. That's fine. I'm okay losing spearmen because they're much easier to replace. I don't want to lose any of my crossbowmen because we have to trade for all that, and it's just a nightmare. We're, what, August 10th? So we still have 2/3 of the month left. This archer regiment is dead. Yep, they're dead completely. All right, focus on the next one. They're getting shots off on us. They're getting shots off on our retinue. Okay, let's get these. Stand ground. Shield wall. Yeah, that's fine. If they want to kill some retinue, that's fine as well, because we can replace them very easily with cash. We got another unit trying to flank us up here, the brigands. They're broken. Perfect. Dude, they are getting crushed. Okay, what a fun battle. Even though we're massively outnumbered, but it doesn't matter because we got better units. We are going to need to... hold on. Yeah, let's go push these guys, and then we're going to move up with our... yeah, let's move up with them. Can we sandwich these guys? No, we don't need to because they're dead already. Let's get out of shield wall, and then we'll turn to face these guys. All right, brigands are coming in, but they're going to get countered. They're getting their teeth kicked in here. So we really need to target these mercenary archers. Let's keep pushing up. We are in shield wall, which I believe gives us a decent defense against ranged. So I'm good with that. There we go. Now we're in range. We should be picking these archers off now. Yep, there we go. A devastating volley that did 0 damage. What happened there? All right, they're coming in again. Let's get our retinue. Counter their retinue. They have another unit back here. They don't seem to be moving. So let's just kick these guys' teeth in here. So push. All right, there we go. They are getting blasted now. They're down to 17, 16. So they're losing troops. These guys are holding without losing anything. They do have a shield. So I think that makes a big difference. We are coming up. No, we're not, actually. I was going to say we're coming up to another set of mercenaries here if we don't end it soon, but that's actually not true. These guys will probably... I don't know why they're holding them in reserve. They needed to commit them a long time ago. But let's... archers are down to 2. We'll just hold. We don't need to push and risk losing more people. We've already lost 6, 7... We've lost 7 people, but we've killed a couple hundred, I think. All right, let's go ahead and target these guys with the mercenaries. Or sorry, with our crossbows. And then we're just going to completely surround these guys. There we go. Take 3 volleys right to the face. All right, let's go ahead and surround. Oh, they got blasted. And that's it. We got it. Hell yeah. I can say for sure we would not have done nearly as well if we didn't have our retinue. I know it seems like they maybe didn't do all that much, but I'm pretty sure we would not have done nearly as well without them. I wish we had a kill count. I would love to know how many kills they got and how many kills our crossbows got. I feel like the crossbows probably got most of the damage, either morale or physical, like actual harm damage. So, but anyways, we're done with that. We still need a little bit of cash if we want to settle here. So let's make sure we can get enough. Shoot, it's towards the end of the year though. We could still set it up. We're just not going to get our mushrooms, but we'll have enough wild animal resources. That should help some. Let me think about that. I'll think about it. We got to send everybody back home. So these guys are obviously going here. This is Himmelreich. This is Himmelreich. This is Mistlitz. And Schwarzholz. Yeah, Schwarzholz. So there we go. Everybody goes back home. Yeah, I can't believe how many people we lost. Only 7 people. What a fight. Now we could push hard and try and take another region here if we really wanted to, because the mercenaries are out. Right, they're going to respawn a couple mercenaries soon, but we get back to do the harvest anyways. But we could technically do another one before the end of the year. That might not be a bad idea. Maybe during winter time after the harvest, we can come back out in like December and bully these guys for this region. We can't set up that region, I think, for a while. Yeah, because this is rich soil. So the only thing we'll be able to get is berries and fish, which we can't get during the winter anyways, so we'd have to wait. And then this one, rich berries and regular fish. Yeah, that's another one. We'd have to wait. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's just get everybody back home and ready for the harvest. And actually, everybody can sprint. We don't need them to conserve energy anymore. All right, everybody's back home. It's August 24th, so that's plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time for the harvest. So we're good to go. The only thing we need to worry about now is some of our regions seem to be struggling with food. So Himmelreich with only 5 months of food. So I went ahead and expanded the farming area. We'll have to get that set up at some point. Let's hire more oxen so we can get this region back on track. And then up here, this one was okay, but I think it was... No, actually that was the only one. This one is going to be okay because we just spammed a bunch of stuff. Yeah, we're going to have a pretty big pear harvest in a couple years. So we're good there. I think Himmelreich was the only one that's kind of struggling a little bit. So we'll get that back in order. And then also, yeah, I started plot here for veggies. So we get a big veggie farm to help supplement. Because this, I should have done that from the start. This place seems to always struggle with food because it doesn't have a rich resource of any food. So that should have been a first priority. I don't know why I didn't do that. I guess because I thought the wheat and rye would make up for it, but it definitely does not. It does for a little bit, but then you need something else to supplement. And then checking on these other regions, they've got their 20 sheep and 14 lambs already. So this place is going to explode with sheep very, very quickly. We've also started producing some yarn and wool and all that stuff. So I'm going to upgrade this to a tailor and we'll start producing clothing for that. We don't really need much clothing yet, but there are a couple tier 2 burgage plots that can use it. I think once we get, even if we're short the beverages, we can still upgrade just about everybody if we have garments and fruits. So we'll get the garments from here, and the fruits we may import, we may produce ourselves. I'm not 100% sure yet on that. But the goal is to do that at all 4 regions that we have. Well, all 5 soon. But yeah, that will help because especially these places that have the Regensburg guildsmen, they're just going to be pumping money out because a tier 2 burgage plot produces 2 wealth per family instead of just the 1 for a tier 1. So it's a big, big difference. And then at some point, if we can get to tier 3, then it's just going to be that much more. Although tier 3 means our population is going to skyrocket. So we got to be careful with that. I think we'll at least get to tier 2. We do have enough money to start this region. Although September, yeah, it's kind of a risky month to do it. But we could rely on the wild animals, I guess. That's not too bad. And then we just keep our population really small here until next year. We'll get all the infrastructure. And then we can hit the ground running hard. Starting in like February, we can start expanding our population maybe. So let me think about that. We've got 189 days. This is going to use up 250, so we'll have 100 out of the 536. Yeah, that should be enough. As long as we don't touch our retinue after this, then we should be good. So question is, where do we put our starting town? Now, flax is not nearly as important as barley. So barley is going to be the main resource that we produce. We will produce some flax, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We need a massive amount of barley because we got to supply the entire region. Well, that's not true. There's another farm region up here that could also produce barley. It's just really small, so I don't know how much we'll be able to get from this. But yeah, between these 2 regions, it should be enough to supply everybody with ale, and then we'll keep people happy and maybe get them to tier 3 or something. So I'm not going to worry as much about the flax. Yeah, so like this whole area seems okay. Barley, we definitely don't want to touch this right here though. And then there's a big chunk right here. So we could start right here or maybe right here. Probably right here would make the most sense because it's close to the mushrooms and the hunt. There we go. I spent quite a bit of time mapping out at least anything that's a 2+ sign in this area. Obviously we want to get the 3+ signs first since that'll be the highest value for our labor. But I think this is a pretty good start. There's a massive, massive amount of farmlands that we can get here. So this is going to be quite good, I feel like. And that's just this area. There's a lot more down here as well. So we'll see if we can maybe even produce enough to fund the whole map. Maybe like 1,000 or 1,500 families. But probably not. We probably need more than that. But anyways, we are going to stick to this specific area right here. On this side, actually, because we don't have planks to traverse that. But like right in this area would be perfect. We can snuggle up against this forest line. So we can get our logging camp there. We've got food close by. I think we'll be in good shape. So let me go ahead and place this down. All right, we've got our starting stuff built in the region. It did rain, but we were able to get all the bread off the floor. I think we lost a little bit of firewood, but everything else was ticking up. So no big deal there. Taxes went up to 560. We've got about a little more than half a year to pay it though. So, and we're making, is that 130, 170? We're making over 170 per month. So that's definitely more than enough to cover. No big deal there. I'm going to keep nursing this thing, getting it off the ground here. Hopefully we don't get hit too hard. We finished our farming setup over here in Himmelreich. We've got all 3 people working in the farmhouse. This is upgraded with livestock, so they're going to start finishing this off. We should get a better harvest of grain starting next year. It's not going to help us this year. We got 5 months of food still, so I think we're probably still okay. We do have a massive amount of animals that we can rely on. So, and I also upgraded all these recently to pigs, so that should help some. Let's go ahead and upgrade these to goats, and then we'll just get a little bit more. And then once this starts running, yeah, we got 15 sheep. We need another couple more trades, and then we'll have it up to 20, and then we can stop. Once that gets up, we can upgrade a butcher to help as well. And then, like I said, oh, here we go. This one's ready. So we need to get probably cabbages here. We'll get the best yield. So we'll do cabbages, upgrade that to a duplex, and then we'll have even more food coming in. So we should be good next year, assuming we don't starve this winter, which we should not. But if we don't starve this winter, then we should be in good shape. I gotta make my rounds because I'm gonna be focusing on Lech, the new region. So we just need to make sure we're not going awry too far here. But I think we're doing it pretty good here, pretty decent shape. I would like to finish off the farmlands here, and then we'll get this region fully. You know what? This one only has 2. Probably should get a 3rd one here as well. There's a big chunk right here that we could farm. And it's not too far from our central area anyway, so that's not a bad idea. Let's let this get established first, because I don't want to increase the amount of people that we have to feed too much more than we're already at. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that. And then here, Miss Blitz, this is looking pretty good. We're getting our wool and stuff going. Yep. Why are we collecting firewood here? Okay, let's not collect firewood there. Yep, there we go. Yarn, and then we'll have to upgrade somebody. That's fine. We'll start producing clothing in these areas soon, but not yet. Not yet. Okay, back to... Oh, you know what? What about this area? Yeah, this area is fine. And I'm kind of curious, how much did we get this year for the harvest? 20? 16? Probably none. Yeah, this one we planted kind of late. That's no big deal, though. Okay, and then these trees are pretty much mature. I believe this one's mature. Yeah, 116. That's probably about as much as they'll produce per year. The quinces, this one is mature at 88. These apples are mature at 110. I'm pretty sure that's a fully matured tree. So that's not too bad, but obviously we need these 3 to start pumping out before we start trading that stuff off. But with that said, we should have enough to cover the animal produce and fruit for tier 2 burgage plots at least. So what I might end up doing is spamming tier 2 burgage plots here. We are getting some negatives for the missing amenities, but it's not that big of a deal yet. We're still at 71%. And we actually have quite a few families already. Oh, 4 homeless families. What is going on? Oh, yeah. It's still showing me the new region. That's fine. I don't know why it did that. Yeah, 35 tier 2 families and 27 tier 1. So we could go around and finish upgrading. Let's just do a little bit at a time. I want to make sure that we still have room to immigrate. So if we get our approval down to like 55, then we'll stop. We'll actually lose that. So as long as we're above that, we should be fine. Also, regional wealth up to 9,000. So every 1%, we're getting 90 basically each month. And that's going to continue to go up because this will probably balance out around, I don't know, 20 or 30K when what we're transferring to treasury equals what we're taxing each month, or what we're collecting each month. So that should be good. Let's go focus on the new region then. Oh, I forgot. I completely forgot. So we have high elevation up here, and we just lost a sheep due to high elevation. So we need to actually move that sheep farm down where it's not in high elevation. So you can tell where elevation is if you click on your overlays, click on the elevation tab, and this entire area is high elevation. So we'd have to come down here. It looks like this is the edge, somewhere down here. So we'll have to relocate it for sure. There's no way we could afford to do that. There is a perk you can get that allows sheep to be in high elevation, but we took the one that increased farming instead. So not that big of a deal. It's going to be annoying for the first year, but we'll spend some time relocating the sheep down here. Yeah, we need to be able to get a road. Yeah, we can actually build a road down anywhere down here. So it's not that far of a walk. So what I'm going to do is, I guess we'll have to delete all these and move them down there. We could just move the sheep right now by deleting these pastures and building some pastures down here that are not in the high elevation. But I might as well do that just to save the poor little sheep. I don't want them to die. So why don't we build some pastures down here then? So what is the closest that we can get? So if we zoom in, it's literally right here. The other question is, can we even get a sheep farm up here, or is it too steep? Because that's a concern. We can get a sheep farm down here. Yeah, we can get down there. All right, it's not that far from here. We'll have to build a sheep industry down here then. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mentioned it earlier too. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it earlier in the playthrough and I just completely forgot. Yeah, I got a little overzealous doing all this stuff. So anyways, I'm going to pause here. Let me get those sheep farms done and then, or the pastures done, and we'll kick these guys out, have them go down the hill. It usually starts to take place in the wintertime, so we need to do it now. Yeah, there we go. We've got some pastures down the hill. Let's delete these ones so that they migrate down there on their own, and then they should be safe. So we only lost one. That's not that big of a deal. It's what, 20 regional wealth. This place is 4,000. So not really that big of a hit since we caught it early enough. And then we'll have to delete all this stuff and relocate it. Why are you storing tiles here? Yeah, definitely did not allow tiles here, but they dropped that off here anyways. What else? Yeah, the trading post, the livestock trading post. Let's leave one more family in there. They can finish their trades. And then we should be good. I'll have to move all this stuff later then. Okay, so we should be good. Yeah, we've got sheep down here. They'll survive on their own for a little bit. All right, we've got Leche up to a tier 1, whatever you call it. So small village. Nobody's homeless now, so we should... Yeah, it's pretty sketchy there. We might still lose the family, but I think we'll be okay even if we do. We've got our 6th burgage plot opening up. I don't want to bring too many people in, but I think maybe a 6th family should be fine. So let's start working on we'll get that built, and then we need to get some food production here. So all the usual stuff. We get our hunting camp, and there's something weird about this map specifically. Like if you look, we can build buildings inside other buildings. I don't know what's going on. Like some of these burgage plots, I was able to overlap. I'm not going to use it to cheese. I mean, I cheesed a tiny bit here, but I mean, that's negligible. I'm not going to just like shove a bunch of industry on top of each other. That would be kind of cool, but also very cheesy. So we don't want to build over here. Yep. So we'll build our hunting camp. Maybe we'll build it right here next to the granary. And then after that, we will need some fuel. We'll get a firewood collector somewhere. Actually, we don't need 2 people getting logs, do we? No, we do for a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I'm going to get this sorted. We'll get this town off to a decent start, and then we'll come back later when there's interesting stuff going on. All right, we've got our everything set up. We've got waters. Yep, water. We've got firewood, hunting camp. So we should be able to survive the wintertime, no problem. If we can start piling up a little bit of food, I might bring one more family in. But like I said, we need to wait till the mushrooms come back so we can get a pretty healthy amount and be able to survive with a higher population. So I think we'll just kind of hold for now. Maybe we'll get some of the basic infrastructure set up. But I would like to start farming very quickly. Probably by next year, we'll get like half a harvest is what my plan is. So we should probably build one. This one looks very strong. The 3+, and it's really close. This one would be good too. We have to clear off the stone first though. That's the biggest issue. So if we get some farming done right here, I think we can do it right away. Yeah, we got to watch out for covering up the mushrooms, but this whole area right here looks like it could be farmed. And then a decent chunk of this, although a lot of it's covered. Yeah, we might relocate these wild animals somewhere else. Although I say that, but where would they even go? There's not really much. Yeah, there's not really many places they can go. So yeah, I'll probably just leave them alone. Anyways, yeah, let's keep going. Let's get through the year. Right, I'm a little embarrassed to admit how much time it took me to figure this out, but I tried so hard to get this area down here to work. I could put all the support stuff, all the buildings, but I could not get a burgage plot down here. I was going to process all of the stuff, but it's just easier to keep the sheep down here, the sheep farm. Everything else gets transported up here. Oh crap, I just remembered the butcher. Dude, the butcher's going to have to go down the hill to grab it. That's going to really slow it down. That's going to be horrible. I'll have to figure out how to get a burgage plot down here. I tried so many different ways. It's really steep, and I have no clue how to get it to work. Especially with a backyard burgage plot. I feel like you're just not going to be able to do it. I've noticed when the lines are a certain thickness apart, it seems like it blocks it. So like if I look up here, I wasn't even able to build burgage plots right here. So see how close these are? It's like about the width of the circle. If I come up here, this is a little bit wider. This seems to let you build a burgage plot right here. And then right there, it's a little wider. Up here is okay. Up here is okay. I was able to get them up here. I tried to build it right here, and you can see there's a bunch of bald patches where I killed the trees because I was putting stuff down. So I don't know. I'll look down here. Maybe there's a spot where we can find... Yeah, see, it's not even one circle. It's within the circle. So that's way too steep. We'll have to find maybe a spot. We'll get lucky where we can throw our butcher down. But I don't think so. I think he's just going to have to travel down the hill to get his sheep. So, yeah, and it gets really bad right here. So it's it's like 2.3 lines within one circle. So it's extremely steep right there. Yeah, right here would be the closest, but it's still too steep. So that's not going to work. Anyways, we'll let the sheep move around. Yeah, go back home. Go. We'll get all that relocated. I had to build more housing over here. I don't know what we'll do with these guys. I guess they can help with logistics. So we do still have a lot of need for logistics. This guy, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to leave everything for now. Let's put another person. We'll put 2 families, one in storehouse and one in the granary. That'll help. And then we could use up some of that labor. But ideally, we still have more coming right here for the veggie plot that we put. So yeah, this place is kind of a mess, but we'll get it sorted. We'll get it situated. Now let's go through over here in the origins and see if there's anything else we want to take. I'm pretty sure we're going to take Regensburg Guildsmen for the farmlands, but I want to double check just to make sure. The only thing that I can think of that increases yield in farms is the elevation one. Those fields are not at elevation, so that's not going to help. I don't really think there's anything else. It's the only thing we could do is this hunting, yeah, of the Vogtland. But the problem is it decreases field output. So having rich hunt and rich soil in the same region is not really ideal. You'd probably want to separate the two, but that's all right. So this one would allow our hunting camp to hunt 50% more efficiently. So we'd get a small uptick in that. It would also reduce the consumption of clothing by 50%. So that would help a little bit when we get to higher tier, but this is just nonsense compared to the bonus we get with Regensburg's Guildsmen. There's literally nothing that comes close to this one. It's the best one in the game, without a doubt. You could maybe justify Bamberg if you're going to be spamming these Burgage Plot backyard extensions. You can get a little better yield from those, but honestly, it just doesn't even come close to this. So I'm going to have to go Regensburg again. As boring as that is, but it is what it is. There's like no downside to taking it, and it's all upside from day one. Like we're in our second month and we could already start gathering some regional wealth from it. So that's fine. We'll take advantage of it. So I've laid out quite a few things for this for Lecce to work on. So we'll get our farmhouse going, some hitching posts. We've got a saw pit, the stone gathering camp over here, and then the forger hut over here. So as soon as we hit next year, like I said, I think we'll start to upgrade really fast. Well, we only have 3 months of food. That's a little dangerous. December. Yeah, we should be fine though, because these animals will reproduce and we'll get a little bit of, we'll get a trickle of food, but we definitely can't increase our population right now. We'll keep it at 6. And just during the wintertime, we'll just get all our infrastructure set up and prepare. Once we get mushrooms next year, we should be in good shape. Right, March 1st, we have completed another year. Let's go ahead and throw somebody on the forger hut right from the start. You can see it's already starting to grow, so we'll get food. We're getting low. We've got 1 month of food supply. Obviously not ideal, but we were able to get a lot of infrastructure built. So we've got charcoal kiln, saw pit. We've got our farmhouse with 2 hitching posts with 2 oxen already too, so we can assign that automatically. We've got our wooden church built. Obviously, I showed you the mushroom pickers and then a stone gathering camp here, so we'll be able to gather a little bit more stone. And what I'd like to do is get a manor house built here ASAP, because if we get raided, we're just going to have a very, very rough time. So I think what we'll do is we'll get a manor house here. We'll upgrade the retinue here next. This will be the next region. We've got taxes due in 8 days, but we've got a lot of cash on hand, so I think we can afford to do it. And then we don't have the ability to add more militia here. Look right here, it's capped. So We capped everything. The only thing we can do is hire mercenaries, which is not in the rule set here. We're not allowed to hire them. So like I said, it's a good thing that we waited before we did the retinue because we needed all 6, as you saw in that last battle. But yeah, I think if we get another retinue here, we should be able to hold off most of them, or at least until we can get some reinforcements, because we can hire some the retinue here and send them, or we can hire no, they were right here, Himmelreich. Yeah, these retinue can come down, or we can get the crossbows to come, or I guess some spears. And if they're held up inside the keep, that would probably delay it enough. But anyways, yeah, this town's off to a good start. We're positive slightly. Oh, we're cold. What happened? Anyways, we'll get this one sorted. I think everything else we've kind of already covered recently. This was a very light year, aside from that big battle. But yeah, Lecce is under our control, so we've got most of the map now. We just need to get some barley going, and then we can get these guys upgraded. What I might end up doing is skipping tier 2 gambesons and just going straight to tier 3 with chainmail, because we do have iron here that we can produce some stuff with. Yeah, we've got some helmets left over. Only 2 iron slabs though, so we're not really getting a whole lot of iron here. I thought we would have more. Yeah, we're still producing enough tools though, so that's good. We're able to get enough to produce tools and some spare helmets. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. Okay, I think that is going to do it for year number 8. Yeah, that was year 8.